is a loaded question. Kind of like homeschool curriculum, what works for one family might not work for another, and Classical Conversations is definitely a similar situation. So we've been a Classical Conversations family for 3 years now. I have several videos where I kind of talk about our experience. I now have all of my kids in Classical Conversations, even my youngest, she goes to what they call the nursery. What I really, really love about Classical Conversations and what has kept us there so long is the community aspect. So for example, today we had our community day and we had a giant Valentine's party for the kids. They all passed out their little Valentine cards to each other and their, fancy little homemade boxes. And it was really cute. It kind of reminded me of the parties that you would have in school. And that was the thing that I was worried about with homeschooling, was that my kids were going to miss out on Halloween parties and, Valentine's exchanges. So I love that part. I love the families that we've built relationships with. It really is like a family. The problem that I have with Classical Conversations, and I've been very vocal about this, is it's a corporation, right? Or it's an organization, I'm sorry. And it's very much run like a business. So from the parent side of things, you don't really see it as much, but my very best friend is the director of our location this year. And so I'm hearing a little bit about what's going on the inside, and I don't like it. It is very expensive. And so for us to pay for each of our children to be in the program, for what we get out of it, for what we get back, I feel like isn't necessarily worth the money. And a lot of what we pay as parents goes to like the big, I say corporation, it's not a corporation, but you know what I mean? It's not going to our personal community, which bothers me. I think there's a lot of like politics involved in directors and supervisors, and this kind of gives me like the ick. The curriculum that we use, the Classical Conversations curriculum, I really do like it. It's the classical model of education. They do the memory work in the younger ages, and then they start analyzing, and they basically grow up in Classical Conversations, and their education grows along with them, but they're not stuck in this classroom of 30 kids with all the same age kids. Like my 7-year-old is in a classroom with 10-year-olds, and I love that because she's learning from the older ones. But I can't help but wonder if, just your normal homeschool co-op, which we have several of them in this area, can offer us the same thing, the sense of community, the little Valentine parties and stuff, the academic side of things that I do like with Classical Conversations. Like, can those other communities offer those things to us for a lot less money, number one, and a lot less like what feels like oversight from the overarching powers that be of Classical Conversations? I do recommend just going to the Classical Conversations website. You can type in your zip code and you can find which location is closest to you. They're worldwide. They're all over the place. Go and do what they call an open house, where you like go for the day, you sit in the classroom, you're there, you're observing to kind of get a feel for what it's like. But just be aware there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes on behind the scenes that you just might not be aware of.